The main riff to shock me. We're starting off bouncing back and forth between an A and a D over A. So what we have with this D over A is a D triad over top of an A bass. So hence the name D over A. You might see it notated as D/A. That's what it means. D triad over a bass root of A. So we want the 3rd fret of B, 2nd fret of G, and the 4th fret of D as our starting chord with the open A string. Okay, and of course you're going to bar the 2nd fret behind that so that you can just pull those fingers off and have your A chord. Okay, and that's all that we're doing for that first little bit, is just going back and forth between those two chords. Okay, now to get down to this G that we're going to do, you can hit a couple of open strings. You can get the D and the G open, even include the A in there. Those all sound good together if they're rung just briefly, while we hop down to a G chord. And now what you want to do is take the 2nd fret on the bottom string and bend it up a half step to match the pitch of G, and you're not going to have to bend it that far. It's easy to overbend this, and that doesn't sound good. So really practice that bend until you can get it in pitch. And you're just going to go through the bottom 4 strings. So, okay, the A string will naturally be muted off, and then open D and open G, and you're going to hit that twice. So the first couple of measures so far is this. Okay, now we jump up to a D, and we only have to play the D, G, and B strings at the beginning. We don't have that high string added right off the bat. We're going to hit it 3 times, and then we add the high string by doing a D sus4 by adding our pinky on the 3rd fret of that high string, and then pull that off to just a regular D chord, so it would be the 2nd fret there on the high string that's ringing. Okay. And then we're going to come back down to that G, which is bending that F sharp on the 2nd fret. And now snag the open string, the open G, and then do that bend again. And then A. Okay, so it's taking it from that D. And that's the riff. Then we get into our verse after that plays a couple of times. So I'll just play this nice and slow for you once, and then we'll get into our verse. And then we get into our verse, which is really just more of the same old, but I will give it a quick play so that you know exactly what's going on, and I'll break it down for you. So as you can see, the verse is pretty much the same. It's just kind of a variation of the main riff. We start off with that A chord, and you want to do a quick down, up, down, and let that ring for 2 whole measures. And then we do our D trick, adding the sus on to that, bending the F sharp. Okay? And we just play that twice for our verse. And then we're into our pre-chorus and our chorus. So I'll play those both together, and here we go with that. Okay, the pre-chorus, we're starting with a B power chord on the 2nd fret of the A string, and we want to bar the 2nd frets on the A and the D to start with. And then we're going to hammer onto the 4th fret of the D string. So we're just bouncing back and forth with that barred 2nd fret to the true power chord. Okay? I just put 2 hammers in there. I go hammer, and then another hammer, and so there's 2 in there. Now on the album, they move up and play an F sharp. So it's all the way up on the 9th fret, and just move that all the way up and play this exact same thing just up there on the 9th fret. So you'd start off by barring the two 9th frets on the A and the D, and then hammering your pinky down to the 11th fret of the D string to make that true F sharp power chord. Now live though, they typically just play the F sharp down on an octave lower than where it was recorded. So if you wanted to copy that, you can just move straight down to the 2nd fret of the bottom string. So you'd be just barring the 2 frets on the 6 and the 5 strings, and then hammer the pinky down to the 4th fret on the A string. Right, that's fine, you can do that. And then after we do those 2 chords, we hit a D, and then C sus2, which is the 3rd fret on the A string. You'll naturally mute off the D string, open G, and 3rd fret on the B string. Then just use your first finger to move down to a B on the 2nd fret, which is a G over B. And then we're into our chorus. So the pre-chorus, really nice and slow. Here it goes. And then the chorus, really simple. We just hit A twice. Make sure that first one's nice and staccato, where you're just going to hit it and drop your fingers, maybe this hand too, just make it nice and dead, to a G. And that G, only thing to note there, it's on the upbeat of beat 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we want to let that ring for a whole measure before we jump up to a D chord. So you could just play D power chord at the 5th fret of the A string if you wanted to, but they actually use their pinky to get a full D bar chord. So you could bar across that 7th fret of the D, G, and B strings. Right, and again, they're staccato type feel, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and... So you're just going to move down a whole step to C, 3rd fret of the A string, and then we repeat that. Play that 3 times. On the 3rd time, when we hit that D, you're not going to go down to C. We're actually going to slide that up a whole step to E. And here's the rhythm for that. So actually, I'll play the whole 3rd rotation here. Okay, so it's pretty much the same. You start off on that D, 1, 2, 3, and now this is where it changes. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, so just fill that whole measure up with 8th notes, and on beat 1 with a nice strong staccato on the downbeat of beat 1. And then we can start repeating the tune again. The intro riff comes in, another verse, chorus, all that. And getting out of the 2nd chorus is our solo. Now the solo is played primarily over the main riff, but there is a key change to B halfway through, and that's where there's something slightly new happening. So underneath the solo, it comes in out of the 2nd chorus, so that 2nd chorus ends the same, right? And this is where the solo starts, right? The solo starting over top of that E. And then we just play the main riff 4 times. Now, after that main riff plays 4 times, we get into a slight kind of variation of what the pre-chorus was with that B. Okay, so we're going to play that 4 times. So all that we're doing is the same thing, where we're starting with the barred 2nd frets on the A and the D, and hammering down our pinky on the 4th fret of the D string. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3 and... So we're just ending it in the pre-chorus. That riff ended on beat 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're just getting rid of that last hit that we do. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Okay? And then on the 2nd measure, we're going to go to an A power chord to finish that off. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and then we just play those 2 measures, and we play that 4 times. So nice and slow, those 2 measures. Okay, play those measures 4 times, and then after that plays 4 times, you just do a D, C sus2, G over B, and then we're getting kind of into our outro there. And now the outro is really just the chorus, but it starts off with a slight variation. We want to do 3 of these. So 2 A's and a G, and we do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th time, we're going to tack on the rest of that chorus riff. And from there, we just get into the chorus riff, repeats around until fade out. And there's all the rhythms that you need to know for Shock Me. It's a killer rock tune. It's pretty simple to play, but you can have a lot of fun with your friends and get out there and play that one live too. It's really fun. And let's get into the lead now. Hi there, I hope you're getting a lot out of this Kiss guitar lesson. Shock Me is an awesome rock tune, a lot of fun to play, and it's a signature Ace Frehley tune as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to learn more Kiss, maybe Warrant's Cherry Pie, and any other tune that's got ripping guitars. Drop a song suggestion or 2 in the comments while you're at it, and let's get back to Shock Me. The solo starts off barring the 12th fret on the 2 high strings, and we just want to go back and forth between that in a 16th note rhythm, like 1 E and a 2 E and a. So you just want to grab the B string and the E string. However, now you don't want to, really separate them too much. There can be some overlap where you're strumming them together. It's just a rock feel, right? You just want to get that kind of picking happening on the 2 high strings, but it doesn't have to be super precise where you only want the B string and only want the E string. If you hit them together now and then, it's going to create that rock vibe. It's going to be cool. So you want to do 3 beats of just straight 16th notes: 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 and. At that, the last beat is just 4 and then the D on the 15th fret of the B string. Now you want to come up to the 17th fret, and that's 17 and 20 on the B string. And then we're going to bend that 20th fret. Okay, so you're going to bend that a total of 6 times. And then we come down, and we come to the 5th fret. So this is in A minor to this beginning of the solo, right? So we're really starting off in that A minor pentatonic box, way up there at the 17th fret, and then we're coming down an octave and playing that same pentatonic box down here. So that's where these licks are coming from, so you get the scale right. Okay, so we want to hammer 5 to 7 on the D string, then come up to the G string 5 and 7. And those are kind of staccato on the recording. And then we bend that 7th fret 3 times, releasing it to the unbent 7th fret the 3rd time. Then we have a little quick hammer and a really nice bluesy major 3rd there too. So that lick is 5, 7, 5 on the G string, 7 on the D string, and then 5, 6 on the G string. Okay, so that whole little thing. Okay, so put this all together. So far, we've got this. Okay, now we get into this repeating thing, and it's just 8, 7, 5 on the E and the B strings. Okay, so we go 8, 7, 5, pull off, down to the 8th fret on the B string. And then we do that again on the B string, but hit the 7th fret on the G string. Okay? And that's going to happen a total of 4 times. Okay? And then we do one more 8, 7, 5, pull off on the B string, up to the 5th fret of the B before we get into this. Okay? So nice and slow, that whole little pull off thing is like this. And then we get into this. Okay, it's kind of a recapitulation of that lick that we just did where we have this major third in there. So we want to start, bend the 7th fret on the G string and release it. Pull off to 5. Come down to the 7th fret on the D string and then roll your 3rd finger to get 7 on G, back to 7 on D. So we have this. And then we want to go 5, 7 on the G string, hammer 5 to 6, and then come down to D, 7, 5, 7. So we have this. Okay, and then we get into our next little lick where we want to slide to the 11th fret on the G string. And now we want to do, it's basically one triplet. That's kind of the timing, is a triplet, but we want to start by doing a little grace note hammer from the 10th to the 12th. But you can think like one triplet and then bend so we're doing from 10 to 12 on B, back to 10 on B, and then 11 on G. And then we're gonna do a string skip up to the high string, 12, but we wanna bend that 1.5 steps to match the G, okay? And then we wanna go 10, 11, or 12, 11, 10 on the high string. And repeat that 1.5 step bend. And then again, the 12, 11, 10. And then we come down with our first finger to the 8th fret and go 8, 10, 8. And hit the 10th on the B string twice. Okay, so that little lick is like this. And then we get into this next one. This is perhaps the most complicated lick of the solo. Okay, so we start off, we're sliding up into that pentatonic, A minor pentatonic again at the 17th fret. Okay, and so we slide into 19 on the G string, and then we get into like this really cool repeating pentatonic thing that there's a bit of a spin on this as what you might typically see that makes it a little tougher to execute. This is how it is on the album anyways. Live, I know he plays around with it and it's not always consistently the same, but this is the way it is, as close as I could tell on the album. Okay, so we're gonna slide into the 19th fret on G, 17 on B, and then bend the 19th on G. And then we get into our repeating sort of thing. We're gonna go 17, 17 on the 2 high strings, pull off to 20, to 17 on the B string, then bend that G string. And then we wanna hit the 17th fret on B twice, up to the 17th fret on the high string, and 20, 17 pull off on the B string. And that's kind of our repeating thing. Okay, and that's where what we play twice in total is just that. So far we have this. So then we bend that 19th fret one more time. And then what we want to do a quick hammer pull from 17 to 20 on the B string, and then do another 20 to 17 pull off, down to 19 on G. And then we're gonna bend the 20th fret on the high string to get out of that. And we're gonna do that 3 times. And that 3rd time, you wanna really give it a wide vibrato. And he's kind of shaking it in 8th notes, like 1 and 2 and 3. So you wanna just go. And you'll hit that on beat 3 again. So you hit it once, 1 and 2 and 3, okay? So let's just play that whole lick because it's kind of the most complicated one. And I'll just play it nice and slow and then we'll move on. Okay, so after that, then we're gonna play 2 staccato notes on the high string, 20 and 17, and then come back to 20 and hammer pull from 17 to 20. And then we want to go 20 on the B string, back up to 17 on the high string. And then we go down 19 and kind of do this repeating thing again, where you bend 19 on the G string and snag both the 17th frets on the 2 high strings, and you do that 3 times. Okay, and then we get into this, the fast little pentatonic-y type thing to finish this off. But before we get into that, I'll just quickly play those 20th fret bends into where we are now. Okay, now to finish this off, this run, what we're going 20-17 pull off on the high string, and then 19-17 pull off. Come down to the B string and do the same thing, 20 to 17, 19 to 17, 19-17 on the G string, 19 on the D string, roll your second finger up to get that 19th fret on the G string, back to the 19th fret of the D string, then 17 on the G string, and now 19-17 on the D string, and then triple pick the 19th fret on the A string, finishing with a 17th fret and a slide on the D string. So nice and slow, that little run. Okay, so that's basically the first half of the solo. Now there's a key change to B. So we're gonna start, just move that pentatonic scale to along the 7th fret, where we have B minor pentatonic now. And this gets a little bit easier now, a little bit of a break for you. So we're gonna start off by bending the 10th fret on the B string, and we bend it, and then just release and bend it in time with the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you only pick it once, and then just release and bend in time with the beat. And then we're gonna staccato pick a measure of 1/8 notes. Okay, so what you want to do is when you pick the string, just make sure your pick comes down and makes contact with that string again to stop it. And okay, so 1 and 2 and 3 and then you do a quick 10 to 7 pull off. And then we come down to the G string and do that same trick on the 9th fret of the G, where we're just going to pick it once and then bend, release in time to the beat. And then 8th note staccato picking. And go 9 to 7 pull off. And now this is a little tricky lick too to end this. What we're gonna do is go, so we bend the 9th fret on the G string, and then get the 7th fret on the high string, but that's a really quick note. And we wanna bend the 10th fret on the high string twice. And now on the recording, these are really fast. Okay, so what you wanna do is go 7, 10, 7 hammer pull on the high string, then down to the 10th fret of the B string, 7, 10 hammer on the high string, and come down and bend that 10th fret again on the B string. Okay, and then to finish this off, you want to go 7, 10 hammer pull on the B string, and then we're going to go 9 on the G string, 7 on the B string, and then we want to go 10, 9, 7 on the G string. And I get a pull off between the 9 and the 7 there. And then down to the D string, 9. Roll that finger to get 9 on the G, back to 9 on D, and then 7, 9, 7 on the G string. And that last note will be nice and short, like a staccato note again. So that little lick, starting from the fast little hammer pulls on the 7th and 10th frets on the high string, go like this. And then we immediately come out of that with another 16th note line. Okay, so it's kind of a repetitious thing, but what we're doing is 7, 9, 10 on the B string, and then 7 on the high string. And the first time you play that nice and short, that last note. And then we play it again, and let that ring out, and then we play it again. Then come down the B string, 10, 9, 7. Go back up, 9, 10, 7 on the high string, and end it on the 10th fret of the B string. So we have this. And then we do this. Okay, and we're pretty much done our solo. So we're gonna go 7, 10, 7 hammer pull on the B string, and then 9 on the G string staccato, 7, 9, 7 on the G string, and staccato 9th fret on the D. And then bend the 9th fret on the G string and let it ring out for a whole measure as we slowly release it. And then you want to have that nice released right on beat 1. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and then we're going to bend that again. And then we're done. So we bend release to 7, back to 9 on the G string, where we pluck it twice, hit the 7th fret on the D, let that ring out, and that's the solo. So I'll just play that last little thing all together, starting from the fast little hammer pulls again, and here we go. And there's the entire solo to Shock Me. It's actually a pretty long one, so have fun learning it. There's lots of cool licks in there. Take your time with it. And like I said, it's an awesome rock song. You now know how to play Shock Me by Kiss note for note. And I'm gonna see you next time.